Hello and welcome. My name's Bridget and thank you so much for joining me today for this 20-minute slow and stretchy yoga practice. We're going to get started today in a nice, comfortable seated position, just with the ankles crossed or whatever feels most comfortable for you. You might even like to sit up onto a block here if you're feeling a little bit tight through the hips. And then just taking a couple of nice deep breaths. Dropping the chin down towards the chest and taking some nice slow neck circles. One way and then the other. Really slowing it down. Noticing how you feel through the neck and the shoulders. And then really drawing the chin down towards your chest, keeping that nice length through the spine and just breathing into the back of the neck here. Slowly lifting the head back to center, getting nice and tall through the spine, and then we'll drop the right ear down towards the right shoulder. You might like to use the right hand to draw the ear down towards the shoulder and deepen the stretch a little bit further. Breathing into the left side of the neck here. Gently releasing, we'll come back to center and then take it to the other side, so dropping the left ear down towards the left shoulder, staying nice and long through the spine, and maybe taking that left hand, drawing the ear down a little bit further, breathing into the right side of the neck, and then slowly making our way back to center. We'll take a moment of stillness here, nice and tall through the spine. And then planting the right hand down next to us, spreading the fingers nice and wide. We inhale, reaching up and over with that left hand. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Seeing if you can keep that nice length through the spine here, rather than rounding forward, opening up through the left side body. You might look up here if it feels comfortable through the head and the neck. Finding some nice gentle movement. And exhale, we'll come back up into center. Find a moment of stillness, check in with the body. And then we'll take it to the other side when you're ready. Planting the left palm down beside us, we reach up and over with the right hand. Finding space here, seeing if you can keep the knees drawing down towards your mat. Again, staying nice and long through the spine, we draw the shoulders away from the ears. Bending into that left elbow a little bit here. Finding some movement. Opening up through the right side body. Maybe looking up if it feels okay through the head and the neck. And then on an exhale, we'll come back to center. Find that nice length through the spine. And take a moment of stillness here. Lengthening through the neck. Drop the shoulders away from the ears. Taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. Filling the lungs with air. And exhale out through the nose. Then we're just going to gently change the position of our feet. So we're going to draw the left heel in towards us and then just stack the right heel in front of it. Again, sitting up nice and tall. If you feel like you're rounding backwards a little bit here, you might like to sit up onto a block or something to give you a little bit of space so that you can start to fold forward. Gently walking the hands out, rounding over the legs, seeing if you can keep the hip bones pressing down into your mat. You might find a nice gentle sway from side to side here. You should feel a nice stretch through the hips. You can close down the eyes as we deepen the breath, letting the head and the upper body get really heavy, drawing down towards the earth. And as you breathe here, you might find a little bit more space through the hips and walk the hands forward a little bit more. Staying connected with the breath. Nice deep breath in. And then on an exhale, we're really slowly going to start to walk the hands back in towards us, letting the head and the neck come up last. And just check in with the body here, noticing how you feel. Then we'll take it to the other side. So we're going to bring the left foot in towards us now and then stack the right foot in front of it. Close down the eyes. Check in with the hips. This side might feel a little different. Maybe you might like to sit up onto that block here, finding a little bit more space. And then when you're ready, we'll walk the hands forward. Again, let the head and the upper body get really heavy here. Sending the breath to the hips. Maybe finding some nice gentle movement. I like to sway side to side here. Close down the eyes and find the breath. Nice deep breath in through the nose. Fill the lungs, fill the body with air. And then exhale out through the nose. And maybe as you continue to breathe into the hips, you can find a little bit more space. Maybe walking the hands forward, only if it feels comfortable. And then when you're ready, we're slowly going to walk the hands back in towards the body. Again, let the head and the neck come up last and find that length through the spine. Imagining a nice long line from the top of the head all the way down to the tailbone. And then we're going to stretch into the arms and shoulders. So let's reach the left hand up and overhead. Drop the left hand to the back of the neck and then use the right hand to push that elbow down. See if you can keep the length through the spine here. You might notice that the chest wants to round forward, the shoulders want to round forward. And we're going to keep the shoulders drawing back together and away from the ears here. You should feel the core start to turn on, hugging the ribs down and hugging the belly button back towards the spine. And then we'll slowly release. Give the shoulders a little roll backwards and then forwards. And then we'll take it to the other side, reaching the right hand up towards the sky this time. We drop the right hand behind the neck and then use the left hand to push that right elbow down. Again, you really want to check in with the shoulders here, making sure they're drawing away from the ears, squeezing them together behind you. And keeping that nice length through the spine. So if you're feeling like the shoulders are rounding forward, we're really going to draw them back here and activate through the core. Hug the lower ribs down. Belly button squeezes back towards the spine. And then we'll slowly exhale. Bring the hands back down to the knees and give the shoulders a little roll to release. Backwards. And then forwards. Then we'll gently make our way onto all fours for our tabletop. Just taking a moment to set yourself up here. So we're going to stack the hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hip points. Really leveling out through the spine. So again, squeeze the shoulders back together. And then with our next inhale, we're going to let the tailbone curl up. Drop the belly down towards the mat, maybe looking up if it feels okay through the neck. And then exhale, we tuck the tailbone under and round through the spine. Let the top of the head drop down towards the mat. Then we'll start to move with the breath here. So inhale, we find our cow pose, dropping the belly. And exhale, we round through the spine like a little Halloween cat. Really seeing if you can sync the movement up with the breath, and you can slow this down as much as you'd like to here. Warming up through the spine And then we'll come back to center. And then we're going to drop our elbows down where we have our hands, bring the hands forward, and then gently walk the knees back so we can start to lower the chest down towards our mat. And then maybe the forehead comes to rest down on the mat, maybe rocking the head a little side to side for a forehead massage. Or if it feels okay through the head and the neck, you might look forward between the hands, letting the chest sink down towards your mat a little bit more with each exhale. And then really pressing down into the hands and elbows, we're going to bring the belly back down to the mat, stacking the shoulders above the elbows, drawing the shoulder blades back together, opening up through the heart space in our chest. And then slowly we lower the chest, bring the hands underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes under, we press up to our plank, and then with an exhale we send the hips back. We find our first downward facing dog, really bending through the knees here and pressing into the arms, spreading the fingers nice and wide. Bend into the knees, find a little bit of movement, and then looking forward between the hands, we're going to slowly walk up towards the top of our mat and find our forward fold. So rounding the upper body forward over the legs, again bend the knees as much as you need to here to really release through the lower spine. Find a little bit of movement, swaying side to side. Relax through the head and the neck here, maybe shaking the head yes, shaking the head no. And then we'll find our halfway lift. So let's trace the hands up the front of the legs, coming to a halfway lift through the spine. And then exhale, we round it forward, come back to your forward fold. And on your next inhale, we're really going to ground down through the feet here and slowly roll up to our standing position, our Tadasana. Find a moment of stillness here. And then maybe give the shoulders a little roll. Take a couple of circles of the head and the neck. Then we'll come back to center and take a nice deep inhale, reaching the hands up and overhead for a nice full body stretch. And then you can take the left wrist with the right hand and reach over towards the right side, opening up through the left side body a little bit. And then taking it to the other side, so taking a hold of the right wrist with the left hand and reaching over towards the left. Then slowly come back to center. We'll interlace the hands up and overhead, maybe looking up, lift up through the chest, and then with our next inhale, we drop the hands down to come up, and then exhale back to our forward fold. Round the upper body forward over the legs, and then inhale, we trace the hands up the front of the legs, find your halfway lift, exhale to forward fold. Plant the palms, we're going to step the feet back into our plank pose, find your plank, activate through the core, draw the belly button back towards the spine, and then exhale, we're slowly going to lower all the way down to the belly. Press into the palms and lift the chest, opening up through heart space, we find our cobra. Exhale, we lower, tuck the toes under, we press all the way back up to plank, and then on an exhale, send the hips back for our downward facing dog. Taking a moment of stillness, and then finding a little bit of movement, so pedaling out through the feet, breathing into the backs of the legs, and then we'll inhale, look forward between the hands, and slowly walk the feet up towards the top of our mat. On your inhale, we find our halfway lift, trace the hands up the front of the legs, and exhale to our forward fold. Inhale, ground down through the feet, we slowly roll it up to our Tadasana, our standing. Inhale, we bend the knees and reach the hands up overhead. Exhale, we come back down to our forward fold and then plant the palms and slowly step it back to our plank. Take a moment here, connect with the breath, and then with our next exhale, we'll slowly lower all the way down to the belly. Find our cobra, press into the palms to lift the chest. Exhale to lower, and then we'll slowly make our way back to our child's pose. So drawing the hips towards the heels, belly comes to the tops of the thighs, reaching forward with the arms and letting the forehead come to rest on the mat. Enjoying this moment of stillness, maybe closing down the eyes, just checking in with how you feel, slowing down the breath. And then when you're ready, we'll slowly make our way back to all fours so that we can lower down onto the belly and find our broken wing pose for a little more opening through the chest and the shoulders. We're going to bring the left arm to the side at a 90-degree angle, bending into the elbow, and then rolling onto the left side of the body. You can step that right foot behind your left leg. And if this feels like a little bit too much through that left shoulder and the chest, you can straighten through the left arm, so just sending that left arm out to the side. And taking the bend out of the elbow will just lessen the intensity of the stretch. Come back onto the belly and take it to the other side. So bending into the right elbow this time at about a 90-degree angle, rolling onto the right side of the body and stepping that left foot back behind the right leg. Again, if this feels like too much, you can just straighten through that right arm and send it straight out to the side. Breathing into the shoulder, really drawing that left shoulder back, squeezing it towards the right, really opening up through the chest and heart space here. This is a great stretch if you feel tight through the shoulders or if you're trying to improve your posture. And then we'll exhale, come back to center and press back up onto all fours, cross one heel over the other, and then slowly make our way back to seated so that we can lay all the way back. Bending into the knees, we'll find our reclined pigeon. So we're going to reach the right foot up towards the sky and then cross that foot in front of the left knee, pressing that right knee away from the body to stretch through the hip. If you'd like to take the stretch a little bit deeper, you can interlace the hands behind the back of that left leg and then draw both legs in towards the body. You might like to straighten through the left leg, breathing into the back of that hamstring. And then with an exhale, we'll unravel and take it to the other side. So bending into the knees, the left leg goes up towards the sky this time. And then we cross that left foot over the front of the right knee into like a figure four shape. You can stay here pressing that left knee open, or again you can interlace the hands behind the back of that right leg and draw both legs in towards the body. And then with an exhale, we'll bring both feet back down towards the mat and slowly make our way to our final resting posture, our Shavasana. So sending the legs out long and letting the toes fall to the side. Bringing the arms to either side, palms facing up. And really giving ourselves permission here to take a moment of stillness, which can sometimes be the hardest part. Closing down the eyes and bringing the attention to the breath. And we're going to close our practice here today from our Shavasana. And I encourage you to stay here for as long as you feel like you need today. But thank you so much for joining me for this practice. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. The light in me recognizes and honors the light in you. Namaste.